Originally written by George Gershwin as an aria for the Opera Porgy and Bess, Summertime is featured in the UK's independent newspapers list of all-time most covered songs at number 7. Its Wikipedia entry claims that over 25,000 recordings of this song have been made. For me, one of the most interesting things about Summertime as a song is its versatility. Now, the version of the song that we're going to start out with in this lesson is a fairly bluesy one with a 12/8 rhythm and a nice set of chords. Bit scary at first glance maybe, but I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how easy this is to play. Let's take a look at the first chord shape we need. This same movable shape is used for both A-6 and B-6. So I haven't specified the fret number on the diagram, but instead highlighted the root note in red. Notice the little X showing that the 5th string is muted. Also, note the line connecting the fingers across the top 3 strings. This signals what we call a half bar, all 3 strings held down with one finger. The trick with this shape is to find your root note with the 2nd finger on your fretting hand. So for A-6, I'm going to find the note A on the 6th string at the 5th fret. Then I'm going to add with my 1st finger the note on the 4th string at the 4th fret, so that's there. Then with my 3rd finger I bring that down across the top 3 strings at the 5th fret. Notice that the underside of this 2nd finger automatically mutes out the 5th string, which is the one that's X'd out on the diagram. Once we have that shape in place, we play it for 2 main beats. Now remember, the way to count 12/8 time is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that sounds like this. And the best way to do this is to play a sort of slowed complete strum on the 1st beat, 1, and then just on the weaker beats, the and beats, just let the plectrum tick over on the bottom strings like this. So we get strum tick tick, strum tick tick, 1 and 2 and. Next we slide the whole shape up the fretboard 2 frets to get the B-6. So that first bar altogether is A-6, 1, 2, B-6. You'll see that that takes care of the first bar. Then in the next 3 bars we have a squiggly little symbol that means repeat previous bar. So that's next line, we switch to the D-7 and E-7 pairing using the A-shaped bar chord. Notice that the 6th string is omitted or muted, and the remaining 5 strings are barred at the same fret as the root note. So we want D minor 7th, so we need to find the note D on the A string, on the 5th string. Nice and easy, because that's at the 5th fret, same fret as we started the song on. Once you've found that note, bar across the top 5 strings. You'll see my finger just touches the 6th string to mute it out. You can actually simply miss it, and as long as you strum from the 5th string. But I find it easier just to mute it. Then I can be more careless with my strumming. Once you've got that in place, 2nd finger comes down here at the 6th fret on the B string, and the 3rd finger comes down on the 4th string at fret 7. We then play that for 2 main beats and pair it up with the E minor 7th chord, exactly the same shape, 2 frets higher, rooted on that E note there, fret 7 on the A string, and we pair these together rhythmically exactly the same as the first line of the song. So that's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, and we repeat that for the 6th bar, as well. So all together, 1 and a 2 and a 4. Not too bad so far. So far we could have been just playing an ordinary 12-bar blues, but in bar 7 we find ourselves heading off to the 5th chord at the point in the song where a normal 12-bar would be returning back to the key chord. And here we see the substitution E7 sharp 9 chord used for the 5th, and this frequently crops up in jazz arrangements of blues, especially minor blues. Now this is the chord that we often refer to as the Hendrix chord. To use its dramatic sound in his songs more than once. It's best understood really as being part of the C-shaped family of chord shapes, referring to C as part of the caged system. So this works like this. If we first look at the chord C and its variant C7th, adding the little finger there. If we take the bottom 3 notes of that shape and then add the 9th note of the scale, now in this case the scale of C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so that 9th note is there, that gives us C 9th, but then we want to sharpen the 9th to give us C sharp 9th, a chord with lots of tension. Then we want to say, okay, but we want the root note to be E, so we come out here from C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, and put the whole shape in place there. That's our E7 sharp 9. Nice thing about this chord, and one of the reasons Jimi Hendrix liked it so much, you can keep the bottom open E in there to make a nice contrasting bass. Probably counts less in this song, but you don't have to be so careful to mute that E out if you don't want to. So this E7 sharp 9 is then paired up with exactly the same shape a fret higher to give us F7 sharp 9. But in this case we do have to either mute or miss this string out. The shape then comes back to the E7 sharp 9, and this combination of chords gives us a nice dramatic pause in the song. Okay, so we're halfway through the sequence. Let's just recap and play what we've covered so far. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and on to the third line of the song, which you can see uses the same chords as the very start of the song, and they can be played in exactly the same way. So let's fast forward to the last bar in the third line, where we find a descending chromatic run of minor seventh chords. Start this with an A minor seventh chord played like this. So a bar across the 5th fret, all 6 strings, and then simply add your third finger on the 5th string at fret 7. So that's A minor seventh, and we play that for one main beat, which we count as 1-ander. Then we take that whole shape without changing it down 1 fret to give us A flat minor seventh, and again play one main beat, down 1 more fret, same shape again, for G minor seventh, and 1 more fret for G flat minor seventh. So we should have the bar at the 2nd fret at that point. So that whole run at full speed goes. And this is really played as an anticipation of the next line, where the melody takes a sort of dramatic shift away from the key of A minor to the relative C major. Let's look at the next bar, and then we can take a look at how it all links up. Here we can see a couple of slash chords. We call them C/B and A minor/G. We'll take a close look at how those are formed in case you haven't encountered slash chords before. Starting with a bog standard open C major chord. Now C/B is sometimes referred to as C over B. It means the chord of C but with the note B in the bass. So with the normal C major chord, we've got the root note C here, 3rd fret on the A string, but for C/B we want that note here, the note B 1 fret down, fret 2 on the A string. So the way we normally do that is by moving that finger up to that note and bring that finger to replace the note on the 4th string. So we've gone from C to C/B. The next chord is A minor, played as an ordinary open A minor shape, so simply moving those 2 fingers across to the middle 2 strings. And then A minor/G, we keep those 3 fingers down and add the little finger, the pinky, at fret 3 on the 6th string. That gives us a G note. At the same time, as well as giving us the G in the bass, it mutes out the A string, that finger, so that's handy. So once more, to demonstrate what happens from the C chord, it's C, C over B, A minor over G. Now, to make sense of this, we have to listen to how it all fits in with the previous bar. See if you can pick out with your ears the continuously descending bass line. What we're hearing is this. And that fits in with the melody, something like this, showing you from the 9th bar, which is the start of the second half of the verse. La la la. Into the home straight. This descending bass line continues now from the note G down to F as the root note of the F major 7th chord. Notice that the fingering I'm recommending for this chord uses a dead 5th string, shown by the little X on the diagram. To remember this shape is to think of it as an A minor played with the 3 small fingers, 2nd, 3rd and 4th finger, and then with the F root underneath it played with the 1st finger, 1st fret on the 6th string. And notice that the underside of this finger naturally mutes out the unwanted 5th string there. To work our way back to the opening line again, we use another version of what we called the Hendrix chord early on, the E7 sharp 9. So this is really a simple open E7 shape, but with a couple of extra notes added on the top 2 strings. Okay, so ordinary E7th chord, 1st finger, 1st fret G string, 2nd finger, 2nd fret A string, and then hook the sort of end joint of the pinky across those top 2 strings at the 3rd fret. And this will naturally pull the shape down a bit, which is actually a good thing because we want that finger, the underside of it, to mute out the 4th string. And ideally the tip of that finger should also mute out the 6th string. So when we play this 1 string at a time, we hear a dead string, a live string, another dead string, and then 2 live strings. 3 live strings. Now this business of muting out the root note doesn't actually matter on the E7 sharp 9, but when we slide it up to the next chord, the F7 sharp 9, it's very important that we don't hear that open E together with that chord. That sounds nasty. And then we finish off the verse by returning to the 2 chords at the opening, the A minor 6th and the B minor 6th. For 2 bars. So just to recap, from the A minor 7th, we come down A minor 7th on that chromatic run, into C over B, A minor over G, F major 7th for 2 beats, then E7 sharp 9, F7 sharp 9, back to the A minor, B minor 6th. to learning the melody, here's that whole chord sequence played once more straight through at normal speed. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Is pretty simple to learn, especially if you learn it in a way that connects it to the underlying chords and scales. For the first part of the melody, have the E-shaped A minor chord in mind. So if you're thinking of this chord shape, the ordinary E minor shaped A minor chord, start on this note here, B string 5th fret, straight across at the same fret to the G string, back to the first note, and then this is the only note that isn't in the chord, this D note here, 7th fret on the G string, back to the 5th fret G string again, so that's then back via the D, 7th fret G string to the E, 5th fret B string, and then straight down the chord. So that was the 5th fret on the G string, 7th fret D string, 7th fret on the A string. So that phrase once more. And that's all based on that A minor shape. Then, as the chord sequence shifts to D minor 7th, think of a D minor chord, that's an A minor shape there at the barred at the 5th fret, and target this D note here, and we get. So again we start on the same two notes as the first phrase, the E at the 5th fret on the B string, the C at the 5th fret on the G string, and then twice on the D, 7th fret G string, back to the C, 5th fret on the G string, and then we bounce off this A note here, 7th fret on the D string, and end up on this B note. And the B note coincides with when we hit the Hendrix chord, which is the E7 sharp 9, which is a chord that does include the note B as its 5th. So that lines up as well. So that's whole phrase again. That's the A minor part. Targeting the D notes. Targeting the B note. Then it's back to the opening phrase, just adjusted slightly to match the lyrics. So that coincides with "Your papa's rich." That part's exactly the same. the melody, it helps to follow the pattern for the A blues scale, first position. So here's the blues scale position. And a melodic phrase, we start by sliding into the E note here at the 7th fret on the 5th string, then up to the G at the 5th fret on the D string, bounce back off the E, and then on up the scale going to A, then C. So that's So Hush Little Baby. And then target the little E flat, the blue note. In the blues scale there, that's the 8th fret on the 3rd string. Just skid into it. And then back via the scale, the D note, 7th fret, G string, C note, 5th fret, G string, and resolving back on the A. So, once more, the whole melody from the beginning. Starting by thinking of the A minor chord, targeting the D, then the B, start again, into the A blues scale run, and the blue note, and here it is against the backing track. Walked you through how to play the rhythm part and the melody of this arrangement of Summertime. In the next lesson, we'll use what we've learnt in this lesson as a basis for developing an approach to improvising over this classic jazz band jamming favourite. So I look forward to seeing you for that.